Okay guys, so in this video I'm just going to go from single slope mode to dual slope mode, show you the difference. Obviously if you're digging to one slope or level, single slope mode is fine. If you do need to put in a second slope, you just need to turn dual slope mode on. Okay, so just go into the menu, press the enter key, dual slope. It's off at the moment, as you can see. Just press the up arrow, escape out of that. As you can see, it's quite different. The right half say of the screen is the exact same as what you'd see in single slope mode. Okay, so if you're used to that, it's the exact same. You have your distance to grade in the red, you have your offset, you have your reach, and you have X slope here down the bottom right. That is long slope on single slope mode. We're in dual slope, so we just need to define both slopes, so we have Y and X. Okay, that's the only real difference. As you can see, the screen is split up into 3 different segments. Down the bottom left, you can see we have like a section face-on view of the bucket. Okay, if you can see in the bucket, it has 1.3%. Okay, so what that's telling me is the slope the machine is sitting on in its Y axis. Okay, so across the machine in that roll angle, it's sitting at 1.3% at the moment. Okay, if I just lift this up slightly, you can see that's gonna come down to 0. Okay, so I'm close to the level there now. Obviously if you're in a machine, you just need to sort of manipulate the ground, move the machine, try and get that as level as you can. If you are digging level, you want to get that as close to 0 as you can. Obviously the tilt buckets are handy in a sense that as I tilt the bucket, it's going to change the reading here so you can get it close to 0 and dig away. Okay, the green square in the middle of it, that's just our bucket point, the reference that we're using on our bucket at the moment. It's set to the middle. Okay, you can change that, scroll across to the left side is selected, go across again, the right side is selected. So it's just down to whatever point on the bucket you're using, say as your reference on your benchmark. If you're benching on a peg and you're using the left side of your bucket as your benchmark, make sure it's set as your reference, make sure it's set to the left. Okay, because you will see differences in height depending on the way the machine is sitting. Top left is our X direction indicator. Okay, so as you can see, we have a yellow arrow, bigger yellow arrow. That's our machine direction. Okay, beside that we have a small black arrow with an X. That's our X direction. So if your machine, just do this round and show you. If your machine is, if the yellow arrow is running along the black arrow with the X, that means I'm on my X axis. Okay, obviously below that, if 90 degrees to that is my Y. We have red, we have a square around it, so that's going to change, as I was just saying there, as I rotate the machine, that square is going to rotate. So that's representing your X and your Y axis. Red being your Y, blue being your X. Okay, so with putting in a slope, let's say for example, I'm on my X. I'm going to put in a slope on my Y. Okay, so I'll put in a big enough slope so we can see it. So it's a minus 7% slope. Okay, so as you can see here in the red, you can see a bit of a grade there coming into it. Okay, it's also changed up in the box itself. It's put in a grade into that sort of indicator. That's just to make you aware that you actually do have a grade in that slope, in that axis. Okay, so this hasn't changed. So I don't want to define blue as being X down here and red being Y. It is the case the way the machine is sitting now, but if I slew that machine around 90 degrees, this side is now my Y and this is my X. Okay, so we're just going to see that here now. I'm going to slew around, so we're bang on our X axis here at the moment. Okay, I'm going to slew 90 degrees. Actually, just let me come around here and set that X direction so you can see. I'll go through this. So I'm going to slew around 90 degrees and you'll see that my Y axis, which is 7%, which is barely able to see it there now, will come in to the blue because I'm on my Y axis. So I'm rotating around, coming onto my Y axis. Okay, so I'm just on my Y axis here now, not fully, but you can see the slope has come in. So this is your dig screen. This represents whatever axis you're on, not necessarily that this is the X and this is the Y. Okay, so I'm on my Y axis here now, and this is my 7% slope. My X axis is still set to 0. Okay, so I slew back around to 0. So again, get my yellow arrow run alongside my black arrow with the X, and now I'm back on X, and this is 0, and this is our 7%. Okay, nice and simple. Just setting your X direction. So if you, whether you're using a laser or not, you need to set your X direction. So if you have a run in, say, this direction, this is the direction of your run, if you're doing a drainage run, say, you need to slew the machine around, point the boom in that direction, line it up, if you're using pegs as a reference or whatever, to line it up, line the machine up in that direction. And as you can see here at the moment, I'm sort of halfway between my X and my Y, so we just need to set that X direction. These buttons down below, F1 to F4, F2 is X-DIR, that's your X direction button. Press F2, select X direction, press enter, and now you see that that's set that direction as my X direction. Okay, so I'm bang on in line with my X direction there now. Okay, so whether you're using a rotating laser as your height reference, or whether you're using pegs left or right of the machine, once it's in reach, you still need to set that X direction. Okay, again, just touching on the laser, if you are using a laser, if you say if you only have one run, if it's one slope, if it is your X, line up your X on the laser, whatever slope you have on the X in the lasers. If it's 5%, we need to match it with the machine, so it's +5, we'll put that in. So your machine has to match your laser, okay? And then if there's, say, 3% on the Y on the laser, you just match that again. Okay, so you have your X direction, obviously 90 degrees, so that is your Y. So again, you slew around 90 degrees, then you're on your Y, and you're going to be reading that there now. Other than that, guys, there's not much else to the dual slope. Everything else is the same in regards to single slope. So that's your height offset. If you want to put it in offset, you're going to use those two buttons, plus and minus. This is your X slope, plus and minus. This is your Y slope, plus and minus. And this is your bench again, 0. If you're using your laser, you'll be using LS. If you're benching off stakes in the ground, you'll be using the benchmark. Okay, cheers guys, thanks for that.